This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, this is Novo Manna, and welcome to another session of the Technology Review Council. And today we have Brian Gallagher with Milestones. I'm very, very pleased to bring to this group a slightly different presentation. It's not a platform, it's not a piece of software. It's a very meaningful remembrance. And I'm very, very pleased to introduce him. I will certainly ask as we go through this that we've told Brian we're going to listen, we're going to ask questions, we'll have reactions, and then we're going to talk a little bit about his roadmap because this group is quite adept, shall we say, of thinking out of the box of where we could take anything like this. So anyway, so Brian, I'll simply turn it over to you. Thank you very much for joining us, and it is all yours.
Thank you very much, Nov. I really appreciate you having me, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about myself briefly. I'm Brian Gallagher. I live near Charlotte, North Carolina. I have 4 children. I got a 5-week-old at home, so if you see bags under my eyes, we're not quite on the sleeping schedule that I'd like to be on yet, but you know, it's all great. Everyone's healthy, and I work at a company called Milestones. It is a 4th generation family-owned business. We are entering our 83rd year, and I'm 4th generation. So my father owns it and is the CEO, and he recently retired back in April. And so I am running it with my brothers, which is fun and to say the least, but also challenging if anyone has siblings. I'm sure you do. But we have rebranded ourselves into what is now called Milestones. And what we really are about is employee engagement when it matters most. What we've known a lot of the time, or what we've noticed out there, are a lot of platforms and a lot of you know, gifts that recognize they recognize good things like, you know, hey, you met your sales goal, or you know, congratulations on 5 years, you know, and that's great. But what we want to try to do is we want to really engage the employee around the most important life events that they have. And so that's what I'll talk with you about today, is our solution. Let's first talk about employee engagement by the numbers. I have a master's in business analytics, so I'm kind of a numbers nerd. I remember, like, I was always told that when I was a kid, I would clip out the Charlotte Hornets statistic boxes from the nights, you know, the game the night before, and of course I was highlighting Michael Jordan and his 34 points per game. But I'm always a numbers nerd, and so I always go to the numbers when I'm looking at the need for anything, and we'll do that right now with employee engagement. So the Gallup State of the American Workplace report of 2017 found that only 32% of employees identify as engaged. The other 2 options were actively disengaged or not engaged. So being engaged with your work, with your employer, with your work, is a seldom thing these days, unfortunately. What we find is that, or what it also found, is that the average replacement cost per employee is $15,000. Takes time to find that person, takes time to train them, takes time to offboard them, and around we go. One of our sales organizations in our business is always trying to hire like 70 to 120 sales reps all across the country, all the time, and it's very, very difficult. And so we know firsthand the impact of that cost of trying to replace, you know, people who do not hang around. 27% of employees quit their jobs voluntarily, and 59% less turnover is experienced for companies with highly engaged employees. So it's not really rocket science. If you're engaged with your work, you're less likely to quit. If you provide an engaging workplace with a deep culture that's rich, you are going to experience less turnover, and you're going to receive the impact of not having to replace that employee at an average of $15,000 per employee. And what we found is, and I believe this is with the retention reports from the Work Institute of 2019, 21% increase in profits from companies with highly engaged employees. I've always thought that employee engagement was kind of a quality thing that is not very measurable. It's just kind of almost ethereal. It's not, like a marketing campaign where you can just track the ROI and know exactly how you come out in the end. But as you can see by these statistics, there certainly is a quantifiable benefit to employee engagement. It's not just so that everyone feels good, it also impacts your bottom line. So what are leaders searching for today? I believe that leaders are searching for a myriad of things, but I believe that good ones at least are asking, how do I connect with my employees? And I saw this through the eyes of my dad when he was running the show here. He was always trying to figure out, how can I connect with my employees? How can I show them that I truly care about them as individuals? And how do I improve the culture of my workplace? There's a major responsibility in making sure that workplace is a safe place, an engaging place, some place that they can find purpose in their work. And my dad, who was running the show, he thought about this all the time because the tone comes from the top. And obviously, when you're making your budgets and everything, how can I increase retention and lower my costs? So leaders are searching for all four of these things. Now, I put this slide in about a half hour ago, so it's just kind of some thoughts. But since I'm speaking to a technology council, I figured I should talk about technology. Not only am I a millennial, so I use technology, but I'm also the system administrator for our ERP systems. I've implemented 2 myself. I have a master's in data analytics, so I have a background in data science, and from Villanova, go Wildcats. But I'm always fascinated with the intersection between technology and humanity. Here I am talking to humans on the other ends of our devices through technology. And so, but, technology does have its limitations and always will. So I love to explore this, and I'm open for discussion on this for sure, because I'm still trying to find my way around this. In fact, I just joined, was invited to the Forbes Communications Council, where I can contribute to Forbes.com and blog, and this is going to be one of my first subjects. So I would definitely welcome a discussion either at the, during this presentation or afterwards to really flesh this out. But here are my premises. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Brian, this note, I would love to come back to this slide after we've given the audience an opportunity to see what it is that Milestones is producing and providing. I think that's a very appropriate thing. I was writing down a quick memo to myself about asking you the difference between the remote worker, or the work from home, but let's call it the remote worker in the future, and its impact of what you guys do. I think you may find this may temper some of our answers, but I'd love to come back to that slide. So we'll drag you back to it. Thank you.
That sounds great. Let's move on then. The solution for these answers then are shortcut solution, and there is no silver bullets, right? But what we offer at Milestones is keepsake gifts for major life events in an employee's life. Life happens, and the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. And by recognizing those events in an employee's life, you are making an individual connection with that unique individual, and that says a lot about a company. And there's many opportunities to do this, right? So this is just what I call the life at work wheel. I just came up with it and used some statistics to get to these numbers. And of course, it's going to be different for every workplace. But assuming a company of 1,000 employees, you're going to have 1,000 birthdays. That's pretty simple, right? You're going to have 1,000 happy holidays. The Christmas time and New Year's is a great time to engage people around that season. 1,000 work anniversaries, and you're going to have up in the top 3 is what we uniquely offer: 40 bereavements, 20 births, and 10 retirements. Now, let me explain the 40 bereavements. So that does not mean that 40 of your employees are going to pass away. That's not the case. But our statistics show that 40 of your employees will experience a death in the family. So maybe Jane's mom Jane in accounting, maybe her mom passes away or her father passes away. And so how we do that is we calculate the average family size and then multiply it by the national death rate. And that gets us to 40 bereavements per 1,000 employees, or 4%. Now 20 births, it's going to depend on the age of your employee force, but you can have a lot of births in a workplace. And then retirements as well, again, depends on the age of your workplace. But these are major, major milestone events. Not all of them are happy. Not all of them are celebratory. Some are sympathetic in nature. You know, it's sad to say goodbye to somebody in a retirement. But how do you respond whenever, you know, somebody loses their spouse or their parent or you know, God forbid, their child? That is a really difficult position for an employer to be in, and we offer a unique solution. So I will take you on to our keepsake gifts. What you see before you is kind of what we offer. In the bottom left, we have customized cards that come with your company's logo. That covers your birthdays, your anniversaries, your holidays, things like that. And we have some get well soon cards and other things like that as well. Kind of a smaller gift that happens more often, more frequently. Moving up and around the clockwise, we have our bereavement gift. You know, it's really a sympathy gift. It's called Beyond This Day. And what you have here is a keepsake chest. There's a leatherette version, there's a wooden version. As you see here, your company's logo is going to be on the inside insert, as well as the sympathy card. And the Beyond This Day volume is a grief volume that talks about the different aspects of grief and helps the employee through their journey, which is very unique. Everyone experiences grief very differently. And then on the other side of the emotional spectrum, happier times, we have small wonders to recognize the birth of a child. I just had one 5 weeks ago. And I know that I want to keep those mementos, the rubber ducky from the bath. I want to keep maybe his first pair of shoes, or a pacifier or a small little blanket that he sleeps with. And this keepsake chest allows you to store those memories. And it comes with a journal where you can track the major events of the first 5 years of his or her life. And then you have here the retirement chest, which is a beautiful valet that could be perfectly positioned on a bedside table or on a bookshelf or a mantle, saying congratulations on retirement. And it has a drawer there for all the pictures or cards that they receive. And it's just this great memory box where they can go to and always know that their hard work was much appreciated over the years. That's kind of the overview. We can go very quickly through a little bit more into each one. So when an employee loses a loved one, we offer Beyond This Day, as I said, and there's 4 main parts. There are places for remembering the person who had passed away. You can put in details of that person, details of the funeral service. There's places to put pictures in. And so it's really a great way to customize this volume to remember the person who had passed away. A Time to Mourn addresses all the varying degrees of grief and the depth of emotion surrounding the loss. So this is where it gets really personal, because emotions come out in different ways. Some people feel guilty whenever someone passes away. Some people feel loss or fear or apathy or shock, you know, and it also changes based on how we lost the person who passed away. Was it a sudden tragic loss, or was it a long time kind of decline? So this, as we have found, and even myself in my personal life has found, that no grief is the same. And so this offers a lot of resources for the recipient to engage with the material, to find comfort and sympathy that they need to help them through their journey. Seasons of Feeling is 12 months of aftercare. It has poems and reflections monthly. That's great to return to during the holidays, because we know that's a very difficult time for people, as around the holidays. And then the Way of Hope is the last part, and that's just a resource section. And what's great about this whole thing is it offers 5 key benefits. And you can see this beautiful chest here. This is what it looks like closed. You've seen what it looks like open. But the 5 key benefits are: it offers a message of care and concern. So it's showing a company's humanity, which I think is really, really important. And I really believe in that. Number 2 is the gift's value extends to the employee's family. It's not just a gift to the employee, but she's not the only one grieving her mom's passing. Her dad is grieving as well. And so it can be shared with that person who is also going through a tough time. And so the benefit extends beyond just the employee and to their broader family. It provides helpful content for their grief journey, as I mentioned before. It also saves money from traditional gestures. And this is where we get down to brass tacks. We typically will send flowers to the funeral or to the home, and that spray of flowers probably runs around $100, round numbers. Sometimes it can go up to 125, sometimes it can be a little bit less. But whether it's a gift basket or a bouquet of flowers, it's around $100. What you're seeing on your screen right now in that wooden chest with the book in it, customized with your company's logo, is only $85 per unit. And that's our top of the line. We even have one that's leatherette that's $65. And there are quantity discounts based on stock sales. So it really does save money from traditional gestures, and it gives companies a consistent message. And what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes people can get jealous or feel like special treatment is going on. This is a program. So this is something to be deployed in a company and offered at every instance of this happening, so that everyone feels included and supported in their personal needs. So the thing I like about it most is it's lasting. Bouquets of flowers, are great and very much appreciated, but it's not unique. Everyone does it, and they're short term. They end up, not lasting very long. But the grief does last. The grief stays with them well beyond the flowers. So this is a great response to grief. We believe, and the impact of these programs are amazing. We have such a high retention rate because once employees or an employer gives it to their employees, they experience the impact, they see how valued they are as an individual, then people come back. It's almost like something you have to experience to get. Once you get that connection, it doesn't leave. Smart wonders when an employee has a child, it is green on purpose. It's gender neutral because oftentimes you don't know if it's gonna be a boy or a girl. We have here, as you can see, beautiful artwork, very fun interior with animals and all kinds of things. You have times of memory. It's like, what was the first solid meal? Here's a place to put the picture from his or her first birthday. It's really a fantastic volume. And what's great is it actually reminds you of the major memories to cherish, because so much is going on. I mean, I have 4 kids at home right now, and they are nuts. I go home and I just hear screaming all the time. And I don't sit there. It's really hard for me to sit there and say, hey, my 1-year-old Evelyn is doing something really, really cute right now for the first time, and I really need to record this. So this actually helps kind of, remind people, hey, look out for this because it's about to happen. The 5 key benefits of this is a perfect presentation for a company baby shower. We had somebody who had a child recently, and we gathered everyone in the workroom, the break room, and we presented it in public. Beyond this day is much more of a private kind of presentation because it's such a sensitive thing, but this is a time to celebrate. Small Wonders excited. It's not easy going to work when you're pregnant, I'm sure. This is a great way to make them feel like $1 million.
That's awesome.
It comes with a keepsake box and can store precious memories. It's gender neutral, so you don't have to, get a copy of the ultrasound to figure out which version to go. And it shows your employee that you're there, and it's a cost-effective solution. Again, this product is $75. It's a $75 offering, and it's really amazing. And not only does it come in a chest, but for the very budget conscious, we have pouches that the book can be given in rather than the chest. And those range around $35 or something like that. Very quickly, the other things, we have our cards where we customize with the company's logo. Just, quick little happy birthday card or happy anniversary. Those things matter to people. And it's really a great opportunity to just say, hey, look, you're an individual and we recognize that and we appreciate you and your personal life. And that to me is a very important message. As you can see below, we have our retirement chest. We're actually releasing another retirement chest very soon, as well as a wedding box to keep the things like the bouquet or the wedding invitations or the save the date or whatever it is. So these chests are great ways to pack away memories and be able to re-engage with them later. So moving on, we are becoming more at Milestones. We are a life event gift provider. We are dedicated to providing quality, customizable life event keepsakes for your employees for all of life's most important events. We also are a turnkey fulfillment solution. So we have many companies nationwide. For instance, we have every O'Reilly Auto Parts in the nation, and we warehouse all of their stock, and they just shoot us a message, and we send it to where it needs to go. So you're not handling 500 boxes in some closet somewhere. So we are a turnkey fulfillment solution. We can do that. Most of our customers keep a small stock on hand because it's just easier. But if there is a opportunity to do more of a corporate offering, we can definitely do that. And as you're buying more units, you're getting a better discount, obviously. And also, we are providing exclusive content for HR reps. We've launched not only a blog, but we're launching a podcast, and it's called Humans Over Numbers. And it's all about employee engagement, finding purpose in the workplace, and it's very exciting. We're having a blast doing it, and we're compiling contributors from all over the country to contribute to our blog, and so we're offering really relevant content to the HR space. And this is me. I'm Brian Gallagher. I really appreciate your time. I'm open for questions. I have the products right here. So if anyone wants to see it over the webcam, they can. But this is my email address and my cell phone. And the last thing that I'll mention is for anyone who was a little bit late, I'm going to put right now in the chat box a place to request a free sample. So we offer free samples, and we will customize it with your company's logo, send it out to y'all, and they will say, and then you can assess it. You can show it around the office, show it with whoever needs to see it, and say, hey, is this a cool thing that we should do? And then make your decision from there. It comes with a return address envelope, so if you don't like it and if it's not a good fit for you, just send it back free of charge because it already comes with that pre-postage. And but anyway, this is a great way to assess whether this is a good fit for your company. And this offer is for y'all. And I hope that you enjoyed my presentation. So this is the first time I've done anything like this. How did I do?
I hope you enjoyed it, Brian. So before we move back to your slide, let me ask the audience to go ahead and open up their phones if they've got questions for you. I'll start the process and say, are you finding that because of the I hate to say the COVID situation, but let's say the more prevalent situation we have, that the employers are now saying, I don't want to forego the event, so please have it delivered to the employee.
Yes.
And go from there. And is that changing the dynamics a little about being able to present it to them, let's say in a shower or something like that versus getting it?
Sure, yeah. So with this physical distance, and I've always said, be physically distant, but and take all the precautions related to COVID, but don't be emotionally distant. Now more than ever, we need to be emotionally tighter. And so these offerings really help strengthen that bond, even though you don't have the physical proximity that you once did in the office. And so what we're finding is actually an increase in sales because companies are seeing, hey, I have more of a need now more than ever to have that engagement, because of this new situation that we all have. How long it will last, who knows? But yes, we can send it directly to the recipient's home. It would obviously affect the freight charges a little bit, but we definitely send it to an employee's home sometimes based on, you know, whatever the employer wants.
Cool. So let me ask, are there any questions for Brian at this stage? We will go back to his slide about the roadmap and the digitalization of what he is at least potentially considering. We had a very nice conversation when we first met, so I think this group will add to that immensely. But any questions they have? Anyone from the audience? I always say, I give about 3 seconds of time and then we'll go. Let's move on. I learned that in the broadcasting business, no dead air time. So let's move back to your slide if you don't mind.
Sure.
And let's talk a little bit about, so do you want to give us a kind of precursor framework that as you're looking for digitization, what kinds of things are you considering? Or are you open right now to our ability to simply say, hey, have you thought of this or this or this or this?
Absolutely, we're open to anything. I will tell you what we're trying to do to involve a digital component to our program is we're currently creating an 8-part grief video series that's going to be hosted on our website. And anybody who receives a Beyond This Day will have this online program where they can, and it's going to be almost like a grief seminar kind of ordeal. It'll be like, here's a video on what grief is, and here's a video on helping your family during this time, and here's a video on some of the things you may be experiencing. And there'll be reflections and you know, almost like homework, but it has to be kind of broad, right? Because everybody's grief is different. So there will definitely be a digital component coming soon, you know, having that exclusive video content to help them through their time. And then on the birth side, we're trying to figure out what to do. I would love to have something almost like if we could create a Facebook app, because if we had something on our website, and it's like, hey, post your you know, your baby pictures here, no one's going to do it. They're already on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But if there's a way to hook up with that and to package it into some sort of offering where they can print out a customized, here's the first 5 years of your child's life book, that would be pretty awesome. So we're looking into a lot of those kinds of things. We're just really ramping up our content right now, and that's driving web traffic and everything. You know, I'll take you through the kind of what I see the role of technology today. And, you know, I love technology. I'm always looking at screens and everything, as we all are. But I will say that I don't think that software, and this is like my premise, again, working thesis here. I don't think that software suffices for soft skills. Software doesn't suffice for soft skills. Oftentimes we will have, you know, recognition platforms out there, and it's all about kind of connecting with people. But just because we can efficiently and digitally communicate doesn't mean we're effectively communicating, right? And so I've always thought a physical message is better than a digital one. And I'll give you an example. Imagine on Christmas morning opening up a box and there's nothing in it. And it just says, oh, well, we got you an ebook. Okay, thanks. I mean, it's nice. I got an ebook, hooray. But it doesn't have that smell and that feel and that touch to it. It lacks the tangibility of a real book. And so we think that whenever you are giving something a gift, tangibility really does increase the impact that it has on the recipient. When something personal happens to an employee, a personal response is needed from the company. And recognizing the uniqueness of the individual is critical when engaging them, but systems, in my experience, often seek to standardize the individual. I'm trying to make a process here, and it's task A, B, C, D, E, and everyone needs to conform to this process, whether it be an ERP system, a CRM, an HRM, whatever it is. It's like this digital assembly line of tasks. And so with that, I think that this is what it does, maybe subconsciously, but it kind of standardizes the person. You know, who does that task? Oh, it's him. Well, that person also had a baby and also is going through a lot and is celebrating a 17-year work anniversary. So in companies, I think it's only natural to, you know, it's hard to recognize the individual whenever we seek to standardize in the name of efficiency. So technology has its role, don't get me wrong. We are all plugged in at our jobs, but we must be very mindful and very cognizant and intentional to make that physical impact, to make that personal physical connection. Whether, I mean, and let me just say this, I think that this right here is that, and I know we're using technology, right? But it's just that you've got to put that effort in and not just standardize everything. There's a uniqueness to be recognized, and only then will, I think, employees be truly engaged, because they'll feel like the individual that they are.
Yeah.
So that's kind
of
of
your company as a whole. I hear that in your voice. So let me ask the audience, as they've seen this presentation, and like I say, many of us are technologists. We're certainly comfortable with it. Any general suggestion? I certainly have a little list of it, but I tend to dominate the conversation if there's no questions. But let me open it up. This is a brain press, if you will. I've heard wonderfully great ideas from this audience when a vendor's presenting something. So anyone want to offer up something to start with, and we'll get the things rolling? Nobody? Okay. well, yeah, let me offer up a couple of things real quick. And you said some interesting things, Brian. The idea of Facebook exists, and so pictures are out there and all that kind of stuff. I see kind of an interim step, if you will. I'll call it this way, maybe your transitional points from where you are today. And I would not abandon what you are doing today at all in favor of digitalization. I think they can coexist, and maybe it's a preference one direction versus another. But it's interesting. So let's say in the box is a flash drive with my logo on it, to put that in the box, because I want to keep those memories, and I'm not printing a lot of pictures these days. I'm putting them on my phone. But some of these really should be in that keepsake box for a birth, death, whatever the case may be, to be part of it. And so the only downside that I've seen, because I have an old iPod and I have songs on it, and it's not really compatible with a new one. So
that's how they get your money, Nov. You got to buy the next one, right?
Yeah. So the point of it is, I think, because of the cloud, the fact of storage, have you considered potentially creating, I'll call it the Milestones community, where an individual gets a space out there associated with whatever it was, birth, bereavement, whatever the case may be, as a place to both invite others to contribute digitally and a place to store digitally memories, pictures, whatever the case may be, videos, etc.
Yeah, I definitely think that has potential. But, it's great. One thing that's great is, like, whether you're experiencing grief or a newborn, is connecting with others, right? I mean, so I just see it in my wife, and it's great to, reach out and talk about what's going on in your life. And if there's any kind of platform on the Milestones company website, that would be very beneficial. And then if they upload pictures, if we can, we print tons of books a year. We have relationships with printers all over the world. And so we might be able to develop something to where it's printed on demand, similarly to how my self-published murder mystery book is printed on demand at Amazon, to print a copy of the book that they could order, kind of like a Shutterfly kind of situation. As a upsell or a future sell. I really like that idea. We would have to get into the ultra customization game to do it, but that would help us branch out into a B2C kind of market, I think.
Yeah, it steers you in that direction. Not that you want to do that. It kind of changes your whole perspective, being the employer branding engagement perspective. The product themselves, though, I think stand well as a standalone situation. I mean, I could see this going into a Hallmark shop or something like that, but it loses a lot of the quality and if you will, the personalization of what you're trying to bring to the table. But
Yeah.
I mean, as much as Facebook allows me to, friend or defriend people or whatever, unfriended or whatever you want it, the idea of being able to create the community of people contributing, let's say from a birth standpoint, it's, from the day of birth on out for a period of time, like I say, or maybe in the bereavement situation. What's interesting is I actually see a role for possibly chatbots sitting on your website. So I have a question about, I'm feeling this way. Where would I find some material? Now you may have that content out there, but those videos that you're creating and other types of things might be very helpful and maybe directed for me as a customer of Milestones to know that I can go out there and ask that question and get to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
chatbots might have a place in that situation.
Yeah. Looks like Dennis has a question.
Oh, please. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it, Dennis. Open up and go.
I'm chomping at the bit here.
I knew you would.
I love this slide.
Brian, it was either you or Bruce, either way.
I love this slide. It's up, but I'm not going to put my armor on or my shield or my sword. So take this for what it's worth. There's a lot of psychology there, what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Software being insufficient, a physical message is better than a digital one, and so forth. I think that when we're asking and saying some of these things as business owners and tech people and a little bit looking at what's emerging out there, I am very tuned into the whole difference between digital native and digital immigrant type roles. And so we have a tendency, right? And I love sending things to people. Even our CRM actually prints labels for people, unlike everybody else. That's nothing. It's all digital. So I'm a big fan of giving people something physical, no doubt about it. But I'm uncomfortable with some of the premises here because I think the Z-Geners and the movement for the younger millennials is that they are digital natives and they don't really appreciate that there's a difference here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The next generation for sure. And I think that what that means, and I definitely take that, I welcome that. Maybe what we need to figure out how to do is to convey that personal impact, that personal message digitally then, because we know it can exist. We're having a personal connection right now, but how do we set up our digital platforms to provide that impactful message rather than a superficial one, which I often give. I think, I mean, it all depends on what kind of message you're sending, I guess. And
it's a program, right? I heard you loud and clear. It's a program. By definition, then the program can be gamified, both for the company and the participants within the company.
Yes.
Talking about
Absolutely.
participating in that whole community thing, and people who participate, for example, a digital well-wishing sort of thing, almost like a legacy.com where people can post their well wishes and stuff within an environment. You become the hosting platform for that, and then you also package all of this with something that's touchy-feely. You can actually make a bridge to that.
I love it.
All right, Michelle.
No,
Michelle.
I think this is exactly what I told Brian, is to experience the brain trust of the folks that can come to this one.
I love it.
You may get some further comments when we put this out in the perspective. I see that Michelle was mentioning though that Dennis, you stole the idea. But Michelle, let me ask you to go ahead and open up your speaker as well. Michelle is one of our trusted friends in the world of HR technology. And so I'm curious, as Dennis was mentioning this idea of, the community and so on, actually, Michelle is in charge of our IREM community. You'll become familiar with them soon enough. But would you care to expound a little bit on your thoughts as should we leverage off of what Dennis was saying?
She's saying that she doesn't have audio today.
Oh, I just thought
gotcha. She's going to type it up in the chat, I think. I love this idea of the legacy.com, kind of like a well wishes landing page. I love it.
You gamify it as people participate. They develop almost, you have a like this credit kind of thing behind the scenes, and they're awarded emblems and things. That's not shallow. That's the whole gaming industry that Microsoft, Xbox, Google realized it and came up with their Stadia. You don't have to have a joystick in your hand to gamify something with that. And I think it would help bridge that gap.
So I'm gonna try to well, here Michelle said, I agree with the idea that coworkers often need ways to contribute well wishes without giving away employees' personal addresses for every event. Yeah, that's something that we run into, is that kind of personal home address is kind of a safeguarded thing. You know, there's you don't want to give it to some company. We're very conscientious about employees' personal information. Absolutely. So that by having it online, they can come to it rather than us having to show up on their doorstep. And let me show you this. I don't know if you can even see this. Hold on, but this is what I think. This is a problem that we have right now. So we're Milestones right here. We give a gift to an employer who then gives it to the employee, but we don't have anything right now to get that employee to come back to us. Because we purely have a physical thing and there's no digital component. And so if there was this, go ahead.
We should talk about augmented reality and tying that into a Milestones app.
Augmented reality is interesting, isn't it? Like if they scan the page of the book, then a video could pop up with more content about whatever topic is on the book. Is that what you would think about? Because that seems,
exactly. Exactly. And if everybody in the organization has the app, that'll feed back into CRM and provide analytics back to you.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Because we can upsell the person, you know, once they come back to us, or maybe, you know, sell them another copy to give to their mom, you know, who's going through something, or baby toys or something, or picture frames.
I'm sorry. I wanted to grab your thought when you said, okay, so I give something to my mom that I received because of my dad's passing. Right. Now all of a sudden, what you can do is take service that has digitally been given to me and provide that as a copy to your mom. So she's not going to miss out on it. You don't have to transfer the physical of anything. If it's been digital, she can share in the same thing. That's the beauty of the community, the ability to implement and provide additional, shall we say, layers of connection for things that you might have gotten that you would find of interest. So, oh, here's a picture.
That's huge.
You know, fishing or whatever. I think the cloud situation presents to you the opportunity to store, and maybe we allow. So, as a baby, you know, 5 years into myself, we stopped, you know, taking pictures. I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm being a real bug. So at this point, parents seem to stop about that age. But 10 years down the road, here's my baby book. And now I go back once in a while and show my grandkids pictures of me when I was a baby. That's kind of cool. But I can hear that. I can review it. I can look at it any time. The digitalization really should not take away from what you're doing. It should afford you more opportunities.
Absolutely. And if I was going to send this book to my mom, who's grieving as well, I no longer have it. It's one thing. I think you were hinting at this, right? And then I'm going to be like, well, I want it back, but I don't want to ask for it back because maybe it's helping her out. But if it's some sort of link to a landing page where the well wishes and the content is there hosted for them, then they both can share in it without having to sacrifice what they have. So, and that brings community together for sure. So the role of technology in this, even though it is primarily a tangible offering, I guess what we're saying is we need to evolve into not just a physical offering, but a digital offering as well. And in doing that and getting to that digital offering, we have to be very mindful and careful not to lessen the impact of that message, because that's crucial, and because this is like the most crucial parts of life. But it really can actually exceed, and it can make more of an impact if we do it the right way, because people don't read books anymore. You know, I mean, so.
Well, and so if you go to the retirement gift, the one that we really don't speak too much, because I think, you know, you're talking to one of the guys who probably should have retired a while ago, but is refusing to do so. But the idea is, I'm sure I get jabs from the rest of the audience, But the idea is, if I know, Brian, and he's retiring, and I want to send something to him, I guess I could do that through lots of different email or whatever, but it'll be lost in that. Again, if you provide the collation point for this event, that's really what you're doing. You're providing that and letting the person maybe even invite others to contribute. The employer can certainly say, hey, Brian's retiring. Here's the site, the link. If you want to leave him a message, please do so. But now Brian can go ahead and invite others who might have pictures of, when he first started, a business card that he started with,
That's a big thing right there, Nov, is what you said when he first started. One of the things that we want to add to our arsenal is new hire gift. Welcome aboard. This is the kind of company that we are. And now imagine a landing page full of welcome aboard and, hey, I'm introductions digitally on a landing page for them as soon as they come in the door. That speaks volume of the team that they're walking into.
Yeah, the very first thing I would do is come talk to us as a group. I would not build anything that doesn't have the ability to connect into existing onboarding programs and recruiting programs. You to your point, you're a landing page somewhere in there, but that's a great way in which to bundle this up and then presenting it. I would go through the vendors rather than the employers, to tell you the truth. The vendors might find that as a really cool onboarding tool. Partner.
Right now we are exploring and beginning our strategy of going through the vendors, the big incentive houses and companies that are out there, because we've been purely direct. Now keep in mind, this is an 83-year-old company. So I mean, this company started door to door, and now we went to the phone, and now we know phone sales are not nearly as successful or effective as they once were. We're trying to branch out into LinkedIn and kind of social selling and influencer selling, but we really are just saying to ourselves now, hey, let's make great products and beef up our digital landscape and let others sell it for us who already have the relationship with the prospect. Exactly. So we're definitely going in. I just joined the IMA, the Incentive Marketing Association, to get connected with the top 10 to 12 big guys who, sell to HR companies. That way we're not having to bother them. It's lumped in with a relationship they already trust. So
I didn't ask you this question. I apologize. I have a phone call with a gentleman in the UK tomorrow who has asked on behalf of one of his clients for unique recognition engagement things, if you will. And I was bringing Milestones to the table as well. Are you global? Or can't
we're
you?
Not.
I'm gonna advocate that you go digitally with multi-language capability. You really
absolutely. Right now, though, we are not global yet. I say yet because I'm young and I'm eager to grow. But we don't have any distribution points over there yet. And honestly, I think that we do need to focus on that digital platform before it's weird because we have a global supply chain. We just don't have a global distribution point for, people in Europe or anything like that, or any Spanish-speaking countries or what have you. But this is a unique offering. There really isn't much like it out there. Right. And so that should be, kind of a clear runway for us to get off the ground and to really evolve and grow into what we know this can become.
Yeah, well, I think you've got a nice pathway in front of you. If you do the trailblazing, I guarantee others will follow you. Before we wrap it up, let me offer again back to the audience. Are there any questions, any perspectives? I do know that Brian has put the link out there in chat, but I will grab that link and also put it out when we publish this video. I'll put it in the introduction so that we can put that out there for people to grab.
So we have a question from Oral. He said, what is the pricing? Typically, it depends on which version you're getting. So if it is the wooden chest for Beyond This Day, it starts at $85 per unit. And then there's a $65 version that is a leatherette finish rather than a wooden box. And then we also have a $35 option that comes in this pouch right here. So we kind of, and then same thing with Small Wonders. We have that keepsake box that is a white keepsake box that's 75, and then we have a pouch as well. The retirement chest is $250. It's typically sold as a one-off gift. It's like the nicest thing we've ever made, and but we're seeing a lot of people are super excited about it. We charge shipping and handling, but we don't charge any customization fees. So whenever I say $85 for the Beyond This Day, that includes your logo on the card and the insert at no additional price. Obviously, we need the logo, but yeah, there's no customization fees.
Okay. And then I also wondered, this is Oriel again, wondered if there's any other customization available on the product itself where you can put someone's name or, you know, anything.
Definitely on the retirement chest. You know, whenever you have a retirement, it's like, congratulations on however many years. Was it 35 years? Was it 25 years? And we put the name on there, the dates of employment. We do have the ability to, what I call a one-off, you know, if you want a special message, a comforting message from your friends and family at wherever, you know, whatever company you represent. All of our customers add a little, what we call what do we call it? A little motto saying, a little well wishes, if you will. And that can be personalized with the person's name. But if you're buying a stock supply of 6, 7, 8, you don't know who's going to be receiving this ahead of time. So, so the short answer is yes, but there are limitations based on whether or not you have stock or not.
Okay.
And Oral, I'm very glad you opened up your speaker. I was going to correct Brian and say, but
that's all right.
You have unusual names. That's sometimes a good
I love
thing.
it.
Depends.
It's great.
But Oral has been very, very helpful in asking some really insightful questions as well. I'm very proud of this group always being one step ahead of where I think the vendors that would like to be. We just kind of show you the roadmap. No, I think there's a great deal of accessibility. I'll put the business hat on, of course, and say that digitalization will save you enormous perspectives of even digitizing anything you do. I mean, it's, you know, it's so the smart move. I think the investment will be recouped in cost savings as long as your message stays intact. That's, I think, what you've done is an important part of what you guys are all about.
Absolutely. And as we're wrapping up, I just want to say thank you to everybody, especially you, Nov, who has opened up, you know, your platform and your council. I'm eager to learn. I'm eager to continue conversations from this. Dennis, I really appreciate your point of view there. It's really helpful in grappling with this digital versus tangible kind of thing. And same thing goes to you, Michelle. Thank you for all your questions, and no, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's been our pleasure. Like I say, I had told the audience that we are going to do something a little uncharacteristic, but I think it's worth it. I personally believe it has been. I hope that the audience agrees with me. If you need to reach out to anyone, please let me know, Brian. Where, you know, as time goes on, if you want a test bed or want to bring back ideas, this is a group we'd be very happy to do so. Absolutely.
I put the link to the sample request page right there in the chat box again, and feel free to request a sample and show it around your office and see if any of our keepsake gifts are a good fit for your office. Thank you for having me.
All right. Again, thank you all very much. Stay safe. We'll be talking to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.